With how quickly NFL rosters turn over every year, it feels like everyone's in a make-or-break season. But some players are under the microscope more than others and must produce immediately, or their careers could take a turn for the worse. Here are 10 NFL players facing a make-or-break season in 2022. Saquon Barkley. Barkley's rookie campaign, in which he produced over 2,000 scrimmage yards and 15 touchdowns, had everyone thinking the Giants made the right decision selecting him number 2 overall. The following year, he produced a 1,000-yard rushing season in only 13 games. While that wasn't quite a sophomore slump, it still raised questions about whether he could be a game-changer in New York. Since then, Barkley's production has fallen off a cliff amid poor offensive play and significant injuries. An ankle sprain in 2019, a torn ACL in 2020, and another sprained ankle in 2021. In 13 games last season, he rushed for only 593 yards and 2 touchdowns off 3.7 yards per carry. The Giants will need to see a return to form for their fifth-year back, who is a free agent at the end of the season, and currently they have no reason to give him an extension. Baker Mayfield. He's quickly gone from being drafted number 1 overall and being viewed as the Cleveland Browns' savior to being replaced by the controversial Deshaun Watson and shipped off to the Carolina Panthers. It's weird because after his record-setting rookie season in 2018, Mayfield felt like the next big thing at the quarterback position. He landed multiple endorsements that had his face plastered everywhere for everyone to see. Sadly, his lackluster arm talent tends to limit him on the field. Still, his accuracy is outstanding, and he can rip the ball through tight windows. In Carolina, he finds himself again in a great situation set up for him to succeed. And if Mayfield can again become a top half of the league quarterback like he was as recently as 2022, he could be the new Panthers franchise quarterback. Bradley Chubb. Chubb is another player whose career has primarily fallen off after a promising start. The former NC State star was famously paired alongside Von Miller after the Broncos selected him with the 5th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. The plan appeared to have worked perfectly that season, with Chubb racking up 12 sacks while teams focused on Miller, who had 14.5 of his own. Since then, Chubb has yet to break double-digit sacks in a season. However, he hasn't been able to stay healthy, missing 12 games in 2019 and 10 in 2021. In 2020, his second healthiest season, Chubb racked up 7.5 sacks in 14 games, suggesting he can still be an upper-tier pass rusher. This season, the Broncos have added Randy Gregory and Nick Bonito to the mix on defense, which in theory should free up Chubb to attack quarterbacks. Suppose he can get to double-digit sacks again. The Broncos should be willing to re-sign him, especially in a division that includes Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr. If he can't, the Broncos could very well let him walk. Josh Jacobs. The Raiders made Jacobs the lone running back taken in the first round of the 2019 NFL Draft at number 24 overall. And despite rushing for more than 1,000 yards in his first 2 seasons, Jacobs experienced a drop-off in production in 2021, missing 2 games in weeks 2 and 3 and failing to rush for 100-plus yards until weeks 16 and 18. He finished the season with 872 yards, 4 yards per carry, and 9 touchdowns. Not bad, but the Raiders have hired Patriots faithful Josh McDaniels, who is known for having a stable of running backs in his backfields. Las Vegas declined to pick up Jacobs' 5th-year option and drafted Zamir White out of Georgia, who looks to fill his role as the power back of the future. Arguably, Josh Jacobs is already halfway out the door and should just request a trade at this point. He's fighting for carries in McDaniels' offense and must perform at a Pro Bowl level if he wants to stay in Las Vegas beyond his 4th season. Tua Tagovailoa. People have already started to talk about Tagovailoa's ability to lead an NFL team, criticizing his record of 13-8 as a starter, poor passing stats, arm strength, and more. His defenders have pointed out his supporting cast was among the league's worst, from the offensive line to his running backs and receiving corps. Regardless of where you fall in your opinion of him, the consensus heading into 2022 is that the former number 5 overall pick is out of excuses. The Dolphins have hired an offensive-minded coach in Mike McDaniel, whose system seems tailor-made for Tagovailoa. Miami has also significantly improved the offensive line, receiver corps, and running back position. All these moves were made with one thing in mind: to support Tua. In 2022, he has to lead them to a playoff run if he wants to stay in Miami. Otherwise, the Dolphins will consider drafting his replacement in the quarterback-rich 2023 NFL Draft. Devin Bush. Bush is one of the most athletically capable linebackers in football. His range at Michigan and 4.43 speed at 5'11", 234 pounds led to the Steelers trading up to select him at number 10 in the 2019 draft. Bush looked like Pittsburgh's next elite second-level defender as an energetic rookie. But over time, his stellar run-stopping ability and constant attacking mindset were counteracted by terrible play in open space. A torn ACL in Week 6 of 2020 didn't help either. The Steelers decided not to exercise his fifth-year option, making him a free agent after the 2022 campaign. Combine all these things, and his time in Pittsburgh is hanging on by a thread. To remain on the team, he'll need to regain some of the explosion, athleticism, and speed that made him such a force as a rookie and become less of a liability. Ezekiel Elliott. As a rookie, Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott took the league by storm and bursted onto the scene. He would rush for 1,631 yards and 15 touchdowns, leading the NFL in rushing yards en route to being named a first-team All-Pro player. However, after just 6 seasons in the NFL, some fans believe it is time for the Cowboys to move on from Ezekiel Elliott in favor of Tony Pollard. Despite the belief that Elliott is someone the Cowboys need to move on from, he remained consistent in 2021. He would rush for 1,002 yards and 10 touchdowns, one of only 7 running backs in the league to reach the 1,000-yard marker last season. In some off-season comments, the Cowboys have expressed loyalty towards Zeke, but Dallas is clearly leaving their options open. One of the most evident signs that a team is considering moving on is when they avoid restructuring the player's contract. The Cowboys have left Elliott's $18.2 million cap hit untouched, despite having 4 years left on the deal to move money around. This wasn't the case with quarterback Dak Prescott or guard Zach Martin. Dallas was happy to restructure their contracts in March, feeling secure in their long-term futures. The fact that Elliott's deal was not altered was an indirect statement about his job security. Jeffrey Okudah. The most significant issues of Okudah's career have been both ability and availability. Okudah, the number 3 overall pick of the 2020 draft, has played 10 games out of a possible 33 in his first 2 seasons. He missed significant time in his rookie campaign with a shoulder injury and groin issue, and missed all but 1 game in 2021 after rupturing his Achilles in the season opener. Okudah has not produced nearly like the Lions would have liked, even when he has played. Per Pro Football Focus, he had a 42.5 grade as a rookie, which ranked him 125th out of 136 cornerbacks. He wasn't much better in limited action in 2021, earning a PFF grade of 53. Okudah needs to have a season reflective of his selection in the draft, or at least be on the field long enough to show he can contribute. If not, the Lions may consider cutting their losses on Okudah in the offseason. Daniel Jones. The Giants decided not to pick up Jones's 5th-year option ahead of the 2022 season and had little reason to. The number 6 overall pick of the 2019 draft has led the team to 3 consecutive losing seasons, compiling a 12-25 overall record. He also seems to have regressed in the passing game each year, throwing for fewer yards and touchdowns in each season following his rookie campaign. But New York hasn't done Jones any favors regarding his supporting cast. The offensive line hasn't been great, which has led Jones to be sacked 105 times in his 3-year career. The firing of general manager Dave Gettleman and head coach Joe Judge and replacing them with Joe Sheehan and Brian Daboll should help. But if he struggles again in 2022, this new Giants regime won't hesitate to move on from him following the season. Christian McCaffrey. Injuries have robbed Christian McCaffrey of staying at the top of the NFL's running back totem pole. From 2017 through 2019, the Panthers star averaged over 4.5 yards per carry and scored 24 touchdowns in his first 3 seasons. Since 2020, though, McCaffrey has been injury-prone and has suited up in just 10 of his team's 33 games. There have been talks of moving McCaffrey out of the backfield and into the slot permanently, but Carolina's head coach Matt Rule sounds resistant to making that a reality. The Panthers have a potential out of McCaffrey's contract at the end of 2022, though they will have to take on a dead cap hit of $18 million, but if he gets injured again, they might just want to cut ties. Christian needs to stay healthy and have a signature season, or else all 32 NFL teams will question whether he can be anything resembling an RB1 ever again.